Hey everybody, this is Ryan here with Ray's Latest, and today I would like to talk about the meeting that just happened with DeSantis and Manfred in Tampa on site of the Hillsborough College campus, as well as just a little dabble into what I think Ben Williamson truly does bring to the Rays. But first, let's talk about the stadium update. So DeSantis and Manfred were in Tampa on Tuesday, having a press conference where they were discussing things where as far as funding and what they think is going to happen with the site and what they want to happen and things of that nature. And much of that day's focus was kind of putting together how all of this was going to be funded. Because the new number that we saw that was released Tuesday was 2.3 billion. And according to Hillsborough County and things of their agenda, what they have, and everything like that, the Rays would be responsible for at least half of the stadium's cost. So tourism tax dollars could also be used as part of the funding plan as well. And so that's kind of what I expected to happen is the Rays owners have to front at least half of that bill, 1.15 million or billion rather, to get it done. And that's kind of what I was expecting. I'm honestly kind of surprised a little bit that they're only saying do half. I would have thought maybe you got to do 1.5 billion and we'll cover the other 800 million in that gap and things of that nature. But having a split half, one half raise, one half whatever other funding they come up with, I think that's an ideal situation. I think that's an ideal scenario for us. But DeSantis goes to say, he says, the fifth cent is what we utilize for the Tampa Bay Lightning, and the sixth cent is what we'll utilize for the Rays. We have a significant capacity that we'll be able to utilize. Certainly won't go cover everything, but that's not going to be an issue. That's what Commission Chair Ken Hagan said. So this kind of means that a little bit of the tourism tax is used for the Lightning, and then the rest is going to be used for the Rays. That's pretty much what that means with the 6%, 6 cent tourism tax that they have. The fifth one's for the Lightning, the sixth one's for the Rays. So that if tourism tax dollars can be included into this as well, that will help tremendously. I mean, the tourism in the area, it's a big industry, especially people coming in for Bucks games, Rays games, Lightning games, any rowdies, anything you can think of there. People are coming down there. Gasparilla, people traveled from all over to come there for that. Those tax dollars add up pretty quickly once you get into the grand scheme of things. And so I think being able to have that as an additional part of this funding would be massive for everybody involved here. And he also goes on to say that the county could begin active negotiation with the team within the next couple of weeks. Meanwhile, Tampa Mayor Jane Castor emphasized that city taxpayers will not be paying for the stadium. Went on to say, looking at infrastructure, the part that we can play in that, and then also, as you will learn in the next couple of days, there are viable options that can raise revenue that isn't taxpayer dollars. So that's an interesting statement because they're the mayor's pretty much saying, well, DeSantis is saying we're not going to be using state dollars for the stadium, but we're also not going to be using city dollars for the stadium as well, kind of just backing on what the governor's doing. But there is other options. So I'm curious to see what the other options possibly are, funding, charity fund rates, things of that nature. I'm sure there's workarounds from what they're looking at here. But DeSantis also goes on to express support for keeping the team in Tampa Bay region. He said baseball belongs in Tampa, baseball can succeed in Tampa Bay. So this having the backing of the governor with the whole situation and him being from the area helps a lot as well. And he goes on to say, he said, this land is basically owned by the state. Hillsborough College is able to operate. We're going to be conveying the land to the college, and then we'll be able to negotiate use with the Rays in ways that I think will mutually beneficial. And he said that he was not going to be using state taxpayer dollars. He says, I think when you look at uh, Hillsborough Community College, the reimagining, you look at some of the buildings need massive amounts of deferred maintenance. Well, I'd rather put that money to the reimagined campus than trying to rehab some of the old buildings, said DeSantis. So he has came out and said that he's not going to be paying money for the stadium, but the state will pay for kind of the whole restructuring and reimagining of this college campus, which in turn is on the same plot of land as the Rays Stadium is going to be. So that's going to be an interesting kind of the way they do that is going to be extremely interesting to me because I could see this as being some type of workaround to where, yeah, we're not paying for the stadium, but we're going to help make fix up the land that's on the stadium, that the stadium's on, and the college around it and all the other intricacies and other things that will be built around there. So I'm curious to see if that's kind of just him saying like, hey, we're not going to directly pay for the stadium, but everything that's on that state land right there that's not the stadium, we might be able to help out with a little bit. And I think that's kind of where this is going. And I don't think that it's necessarily a bad thing. I think not having the state funding is okay. I think if you can the Rays can cough up the 1.5 or $1.2 billion to kind of upfront half that cost, and then you get private equity, state taxpayer, tourist dollars, city funding maybe, things of that nature would just help everybody in the long run. And I think that being able to get all of this together and kind of moving in the next couple of weeks, we'll see a lot more details and kind of stringent plans on what we think is going to happen and kind of get a timeline of events, the breaking ground, and things of that nature. But I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be great for every party involved. I think the college is going to extremely benefit from it. The Rays are definitely going to benefit from it. I think Tampa's going to benefit from it. The Bucks are going to benefit from it. I think it's going to be fantastic for everybody involved. And I'm just really excited to kind of see all that kind of keep going and start seeing plans form into place. But the next thing I want to talk about just briefly is Ben Williamson. A lot of people were skeptical, and there people are saying, "Oh, the Rays won the trade," and then some people are like, "What are you talking about? Like, how did the Rays win the trade?" And I kind of went deep, like deep dove into it. Ledbetter did have pretty good stats, and I think that losing him is a little painful. But I think what Williamson brings to the team with plus defensive fielding at third base, and he's got the raw hit tools that you need to succeed at a big league level. He just hasn't clicked it in yet in his one season that he was up at the big leagues last season. So I think from just that perspective of I think he can do it, and I think he can do it at a high level. I wouldn't necessarily be so inclined to say that the Rays didn't kind of come out ahead on this trade. And I think the Mariners getting Brendan Donovan, I think that helps them a lot. And I think the Cardinals getting that massive haul of Ty Pete, Ledbetter, Sagente, and a Comp B pick for it. That's pretty good too. So I think it benefits all three teams in their own ways. But I do really like what the Rays kind of got out of that. And I do think Williamson could be a really good player for us, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And if he can get the bat working for 2026, I think the sky's the limit with him. And I think that if you if you put out 8 home runs and hit 295 with plus defense, I don't think anybody's going to bat an eye at that trade and say that was horrible. I think they're going to be like, that was a fantastic trade. I think he belongs, and I think he's going to be a great player. So, you guys let me know what you guys think about the whole stadium, new updates, as well as what you think about how Ben Williamson kind of fits in on the roster. And you guys have a great one.